Alex turned his pain into purpose as the co-founder of Dear Fathers, the premier media platform dedicated to telling stories of Black fatherhood. After growing up without a father, he felt a deep void and created a safe space for men to share their stories and find community in fatherhood and manhood. He also hosts the Dear Fathers podcast, where celebrity guests open up about life as men and fathers. He has interviewed icons like Shaquille O'Neal, Pusha T, Master P, Ricky Smiley, and Ced the Entertainer, and is reaching 1 million listeners. Dear Fathers is the #1 podcast for Black fatherhood. Let's welcome Jesse Alex.
Mark check. How y'all doing today? I appreciate y'all for having me. I didn't think I was gonna be nervous. We normally host conversations and it's like a lot of men, so seeing like hundreds of women is making me a little nervous, but it's gonna be a good conversation. Like she said, Dear Fathers is a media platform focused on storytelling, and I would like to thank Jamaica and the MomScape conference for having us out and just creating space for a conversation about fatherhood. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised. Somebody from St. Louis in here? No? Yeah. Oh, you? Okay, what's up, bro? I've been living in Dallas for the last 11 years now. I definitely consider Atlanta one of our hubs at Dear Fathers. We host multiple events here each year, and the moderator, she did a great job of explaining, who Dear Fathers is, and I always say that we are a platform that was birthed from pain to purpose. I grew up without my father, didn't really know what it looked like to be a man or a father, and I would have conversations with one of my close friends about kind of what that looked like, who we wanted to be as men, who we wanted to be as fathers, and we just had some unpacking to do, and Dear Fathers was birthed from that. So without further ado, now that y'all know a little about me, I want to bring up our special guest for today. So I would like to invite up Odell Beckham Sr. and his son Kordell Beckham to the Dear Fathers podcast. How y'all doing today?
Doing good.
It's great to have y'all, man. We had some cool conversations in the back, and I'm looking forward to kind of unpacking that here amongst everybody. But before we get into a conversation about manhood, fatherhood, I want y'all to kind of just chime in. Odell Sr. Obviously we know the name. We know son is Cordell. We know Odell Beckham Jr. But talk a little bit more about who you are, your background, and just who you are.
Yeah, Odell Sr. I'm originally from Texas, born and raised, went to high school there, attended LSU, went to LSU on scholarship, thank God, because my mom and dad probably couldn't afford it, and so it was a blessing to have a skill set to further my education for free, and of course while there, and my oldest son, and kind of grew up fast, quick, as a father. And so after graduating LSU in '95, 10 years later I had him. And so it was a little time in between that. But now I've got another son, he's 10, and a little girl that I spoke into existence for about 1.5 years. I had to have her. I wouldn't stop. And she exists, Summer Odellise, and Sonny Odell, and then I've got Cordell Cornelius and Odell Cornelius. But just keeping me busy. I got a 3-year-old grandson now, and so his aunt and uncle is 10 and 7. So I'm done.
No, I appreciate that, man. And Cordell, like, any Love Island fans out here? Anybody watch Love Island? Okay, as we know, season 6 winner on Love Island. But outside of that, tell people a little bit more about yourself and what you got going on.
Yeah, man. So, as y'all know, my name is Cordell. I'm from Texas, Houston. Life is different now, and I can't complain. Shout out Pops for encouraging me to even go and take that experience, because as he mentioned, it's like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You never know where it's gonna lead you or what's gonna happen or the outcome or the aftermath, when all of it goes down. So with that being said, it's been a lot of blessings and opportunities my way. So I'm coming from the TV reality into actual acting, the scripted series. So I recently just filmed my first scripted series out here in Atlanta. Blessings and blessings, and it was with on Kiki Palmer's network. And the show's called Southern Fried Rice, so be on the lookout for that soon. And y'all see me, so I'm still here. So I'm getting ready to film another thing for the show Reasonable Doubt with Morris Chestnut. Any Morris Chestnut? But yeah, I'm getting ready to do that. I'm filming my first episode, and I haven't even started yet, and they already put out like an idea of another episode to be filming in too. So I'm really excited. My journey is just beginning. It never like will end. Honestly, I feel like the state that I'm at right now, I see a lot going on, and my dreams and goals is coming true right now. So
Yeah, you're just getting started, man. I'm happy for you, man.
Can we get your autograph now?
Of course, somebody got a pen?
But no, I think you said, like, even your journey to Love Island, your pops, did he encourage you to do that?
Yeah, so right before I got on here, right, I'm working hard, doing things that, a young man at my age would probably be doing, going through college, working at a dealership, and my time as an aircraft fueler. So I'm in aviations and all that, and this opportunity popped up. I was a model at first as well, so I was mainly kind of focusing on modeling and kind of getting into the acting side. So when that popped up, I'm here with Pops. I think we was in Arizona too, or wherever we was at. We always around each other. So I'm talking about it. And I was like, I'm telling him like, I don't know though, Pop. I'm Fiji. I don't even have a passport yet. It's kind of far. And he like, sometimes this is what you gotta do. You gotta go out there. You gotta put yourself out there to be seen, be heard. This right here could be your story. You know what I mean? And you just gotta be the best Cordell you can be and show them who you are. So, with those, and it was a lot more words of encouragement. I ain't gonna put his business out there. You know what I mean? No, I'm just joking. But it was yeah. So like hearing that really encouraged me to really go out there and put myself in an uncomfortable situation, because mainly when you're comfortable where you at, you don't want to do nothing else. You're comfortable. You don't want to see nothing. You don't want to learn nothing new. But when you put yourself outside the box to where you have to force yourself to learn these new things, you get good benefits out of it, and you gain like literally anything from it, and it can change your life. It can change your moment. So I always appreciate Pops for even encouraging me to go out there. I found my girl, won the show. So it's like, what I mean? Shout out Pops, man.
That's what's up, man. And definitely shout out to Pops. But Pops, I'm curious from you, like, what did you teach Cordell about dating prior to him going on the show? Did y'all have conversations, about how to treat women, or what that looks like, the birds and the bees convos? Like, what that look like for you in terms of your relationship with your son, in terms of just teaching him about dating?
Well, of course, they saw me, dating and how I treated women, which was always with respect, and treated them nice. And so I think just by him seeing me treating women with respect and dignity and in a nice way. And I've always taught all of them to never, ever touch a woman, never hit a woman. And so we stood on that, but just being loyal, just being loyal, because I think that's one of our traits is we're just loyal individuals. And so I think he just kind of saw that and did his own thing.
Okay. Now, Cordell, from your perspective, did you, outside of what your pops is saying, did you learn anything additional in terms of just...
Yeah. So, to sum it up, just like what Pop said, he taught me, how to treat a woman, right? But in my perspective, I'm getting taught, but I always observe. I'm always watching him. Everything he's doing, I'm watching. So, I'm seeing how he's treating the woman that he's with, how he's opening up doors for her, the little things, the words of affirmation, just compliments, stuff like that, doing the little things, making their day, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of feed off that and also see it from my mom's perspective, my godmom's perspective as well, seeing how they are, and it's just piecing it all together from what I hear from my mom on how you should treat a woman, and seeing from my pops and hearing from him how a woman is treated and how, from another male perspective, to treat a woman. So, yeah.
No, that's what's up, man. I appreciate you sharing. And Odell Sr., I want to ask you, you have, a good amount of kids. You've been a father. I don't know how many, but you got a good amount.
I got a little army.
Four. Okay, that's cool.
3 boys and a girl.
You got 4 children.
Boys and a
4
girl.
children. And I'm curious to know, in terms of just this particular relationship right now, what traits do you see in Cordell that remind you of yourself?
Again, number one, he's nice. His kindness. We were always. I was always nice. He's friendly. Very friendly. But
Yeah.
I think it is kindness, honesty, because I've always taught him that telling the truth is mandatory. Don't lie to me. That's always been the case. Don't lie to me. And so honesty, I think, was one of his traits that I've had. That I have, and just being
solid.
Just being being respectful, really. Just being respectful.
Okay.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's mandatory for me.
And I still use it till this day, so it'll never go away.
Yeah, and I even want to ask you, you were on, I think it's BET The Fellas, right? That conversation. It was a great conversation that you all had on that show. And for you to you're 23, right?
Yeah, I just turned 23.
Okay, 23
Yeah.
years old. I feel like that conversation showed a lot of just emotional maturity on your end. Would you attribute that to how you were raised? As a 23-year-old young man, what did you attribute that to?
To me, honestly, it does have a part to play, in how I'm raised. Obviously, I was raised by my father, I was raised by my mom, I was raised by my godmom, grandma, everybody, it wasn't just one. So I'm seeing everything, whole family, we family oriented, right? But in my perspective, especially with the Fellas interview, I don't know if any of y'all seen that, but when I was speaking on, I guess they're saying my emotional maturity, I feel as if that's just something that should be mandatory. It shouldn't, and I get it, it's just a lot that's oh, he's so mature, da-da-da, but in my mind, I'm don't everybody think like this? Ain't this what it's supposed to be like? Because from where I'm raised from, this is what I'm seeing, this is what he teaching me, this is what I'm seeing from him. I'm like, did y'all not, this is what it's supposed to be like. It really shouldn't be something new, which I appreciate. I appreciate them, saying how emotionally mature I am. But, you know, I can't take all the credit. I can't take all the credit because, you know, I got this from him and from her and my mom. So it's just like.
No, I agree with you, man. I think, you know, it should be kind of a standard, right?
Yeah,
I think in our community sometimes we look at somebody who's young is, you know, just, it's like, it's rare sometimes to kind of just see that. So, but I agree with you, man. I think it should be a standard.
Yeah.
And Odell Sr., I want to ask you, in terms of, you know, these 4 children that you have, 2 of them being in the spotlight pretty heavy. Odell Jr., star football player, right? Had lots of great years in the NFL. Cordell doing his thing now. What's that like as a parent to have children who are just in the spotlight so heavily? Because that can be good and bad, right? Like, people are gonna say great things about your children, but as we know in the internet days, people are gonna say some crazy things about your kids as well. What's that like for you as a parent? How do you operate in that realm?
Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna take up for them. I'm gonna stand behind mine because they have my name. And so if you're speaking about them, you're speaking about me. So I'm gonna stand behind them. Now when they're right, and if they're wrong, they're wrong. And I'm gonna let them know that. But it's been a blessing for me, you know, to have a son to play in the NFL for 10 plus years and to be able to do some things that I generally probably wouldn't have been able to do, you know. Semi-retired now for the most part, but travel a lot. When he needs to see his son, I'm gonna jump on a plane and I'm gonna go get him and I'm gonna take him to him, like I did just a couple of days ago, last minute. And so from Texas to Arizona to Miami, from Miami to here. And so I'm a little spread thin, but it's definitely a blessing to, because we all want our kids to go further, have more, do better than us. And if you don't, you got a problem. And so, you know, all the things that you try to instill in them and make sure that they're doing the things that you did, but the right way. Not doing the wrong things, doing the right things. Not making the mistakes that you made. So it's definitely been a blessing to have, you know, a son like that. And then for him, you know, it's tough having a brother play in the NFL and then you think that, well, that's what I want to do too. Because, I mean, I played football, but I didn't make it to the NFL. And people wanted me to continue to try and try, but I had a 4-year-old that needed clothes and shoes, and so I had to go get a job. And I didn't keep going after it and keep trying and trying. I went and got a job and provided for him, or at least tried to. And sometimes when I seen him, it was just open arms and love, no gifts, you know, because that's just who I was. And it was the love that I provided, not the gifts. And if the gifts came, it was a little extra for you, you know. But, and so him seeing his brother play football, and now he's a millionaire, of course he wanted to do that too. So he went to school, he tried to school, and, you know, it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, and, you know, to spend money, and it ain't for you, it ain't for me. So as I told him, you know, I ain't gonna say what I said, but you can say we done with school. And we're gonna move on, and we're gonna find you a job, and we're gonna do what you wanna do. You're modeling, you're doing the runway, that's what we're gonna do. That's what you wanna do, that's what we're gonna do. And so, found him a government job, went through training. By that time, we got the phone call from Love Hour. And I'm like, wow. And he was like, man, Pops, but my job. I was like, well, just like you found this one, you can find another one. Just like when one door closed, another one gonna open. So, like I told him, tell them this is an opportunity of a lifetime. You don't know if you'll ever get to go to Fiji again. You don't know if you'll ever get this opportunity again. So, take advantage of it. Walk by faith. Because we live by faith and not by sight, right? So, that's what I told him, and he went. I dropped him off on May 20th. I didn't see him until July the 27th. Now, in the meantime, in between time, every time I went to the bank, the lady said, he's still there? I said, yeah, he's still there. So I sure hope he does it. I sure hope he does it, because I want this back. No, that's what's up. But no, he went, and by faith he accomplished it. He did. And here we are. Just getting started. Just getting started.
For sure. Well, I want to get your POV on that, you know, just from what your pops was saying. Like, he went to LSU, your older brother went to LSU, played football. Like, did you ever feel any pressure? And, like, when did that stop for you in terms of, like, just carving your own lane?
I mean, it was never pressure to do, football. I wanted to do it because I wanted to follow in my brother's footsteps. It's big brother. You see your sibling, you see what they doing, you want to do that and be better than them, and then talk about it and tell them. You know what I mean? I ain't making that far. But, after because I went to UNT, I didn't go to LSU. I stayed in the States, went to TJC, then I went to UNT, and everything was going on. Mind you, I moved out. I'm in my own house, apartment at 19. I was grinding. I'm getting my stuff going.
Made him.
Pretty much, But and nothing wrong with that neither. Nothing wrong with that.
Come on.
So, and I'm out there. I'm doing what I'm doing, and I realized like trying to balance football, school, 2 jobs, this and that. It's too much. And it's like, you can chase a dream, right? But you don't want that dream to be the reason of your downfall, because you chasing this and you're not really focused on what's best for you mentally and, physically as well. It's too much going on, right? So they always say come up with a backup. Me, I'm always doing some type of reciting some movies and acting and all that type of stuff. So people were like, hey, and modeling and stuff like that, they were like, hey, you kind of need to start taking this serious. I see this is the lane you going in, and hence right here was saying, I see this for you. And it's just like hearing those words, right? It's like, from a parent's perspective, y'all wouldn't think that it means that much to us, but hearing that you are really supporting whatever we're doing, whether we wanted to do this and we not doing it no more, and we like, hey, I want to do this, and y'all all for it, that means so much, and that's something we'll never forget, right? So hearing that made me want to strive and go for it more. Now I got something to prove, not prove, but I want to make my pops proud, because he's out here, he's supporting me right now. He know that I want to do the football, I didn't go down, but now I'm on this new goal, new dream, and he right there supporting me through everything. From the moment I first did my first runway show, he was there. You know what I mean? Anything that I was doing, he was there. So, and it's just like, it came a long way. And, which it led me to where I'm at now. It's just crazy. Just thinking about it. I just call it like a whole memory, y'all. It's so crazy. Now you get to talking about it, and then everything just started playing. But yeah.
It's definitely crazy, man. And like we've been saying, this is just the beginning. So definitely looking forward to everything that's next. But I gotta ask you, being on a show like Love Island, you dating these women, you moving around, you're doing your thing. In the back of your head, was you ever thinking like, what my mom and dad gonna think when they watch this?
Every single day. Well, look, I'm gonna tell y'all what, because they already know how I am, right? So it was more of what I'm doing. Like, you know, the little challenges and all the little game stuff that we doing. Like, you know, all the kissing and all that. They watching this, I'm like, dang, is they watching me right now? I wonder what they saying right now. I could probably hear Pop saying, yeah, you know, hyping it up. Then Mom's like, oh my God, what is he doing? You know what I mean? And it was so funny. But that whole time there, bro, I wasn't worried about nothing. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm not gonna lie to you, I really forgot it was a whole game competition. I got in there, you know, it's free vacation, free summer. We all going in there talking about some, you know, I ain't going in here to go find no love. You know, it's supposed to be fun, da-da-da. I went in there like 2 days in, I was already feeling it. I'm like, yeah, it's over with for me. And then it's like, you know, in the real world, you know, when you start feeling those feelings, you could separate from it. Nah, you there. They just gonna keep getting stronger and stronger. And see me, I ain't mad at it. You know what I mean? Like, if I see somebody that I like, you know, I'm gonna approach that because it's just like I don't have time to be doing all that. You know, life is, you know, we here, but we ain't here for too long. You know what I mean? So you make the most of it, but you gotta make sure that's something you want to do. You see yourself doing every single day, waking up to that same person every single day. You know, I always kind of looking at mine, especially seeing like their relationships. I always wanted a relationship, not just like the, you know, I want to, you know, my woman I can go home to. You know what I'm saying? See, I'm having a bad day. I got that one person that's gonna make it up every single time. So when I got up in there, I got up in there, you know. Locked in, seen her, and then it just went up from there. And I'm like, yeah, I like this girl. This is, yeah. So.
Oh, that's what's up. Now, 23 years old now, no rush, but do you see yourself being a father one day? And if so, what type of father do you see yourself being?
Yeah, not right now. But the thing is,
definitely not right now.
Not right now. And it's so good because, like, you know, I didn't have this conversation with my woman. You know, we have this conversation and we on the same page. Like, man, that's a woman right there. We ain't doing nothing until we get married. She said that ring ain't on that finger. And you know what? I stand by it, because you know what? Hey, a ring do gotta be on that finger. Bringing that life in there, you know, that's a different type of responsibility. And I feel as if I want to be with that right person. You know, everything happens, and you know things don't go that way. But you know, having a baby with that certain person is just it's special, especially when y'all like engaged. And I feel like it's even more special because it's like y'all engaged now. Y'all are man and wife. You know, husband and wife. I mean, and you know, and it's like you can't beat that feeling. Getting married and, you know, having a child with your wife. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah.
So that's that emotional maturity they talk about.
Yeah, but the thing is, it ain't gonna happen right now. But it will happen soon. And I'm not, you know, and if it happens, it happens. I'll be the best father that I can be.
But that's chains being broken right there.
And I'll be the best father that I can be. You know, I learned from the greatest, so.
I respect that. And Odell Sr, I want to ask you, with you being a grandfather now, you got 2 grandchildren? One grandchild? I've been throwing all these grandchildren. Yeah, my bad, man.
Getting confused.
I want to ask you, like, tell us what it's been like for you, like, seeing your kids have kids of their own.
It's a blessing because my dad passed when my oldest was 6 weeks. He saw him one time. 6 weeks old, saw him one time, and he passed before he could get 1 year old. A year old. And so for me, I've made it a little longer than my father did. You know, again, that chain was broke, and so I've been able to be a grandfather more than my father was able to be. So it's a blessing for me to even be here to see it and enjoy it and be a real grandfather or a pawpaw is what I'm calling, and not just have that title, you know, because I know my grandmother, Big Mama, she lived till she was 101. She just passed in September. Sure did. Lived a great life. Saw the eclipse actually was on her birthday, April the 8th, right on the porch. And so, but yeah, I enjoy it. I'm blessed to be able to see it, and eventually I'll have another one, I'm sure. He ain't ready. But the oldest one, I'm sure he'll have one.
Now, I want to ask you, because we talked a little bit backstage about like discipline and things of that nature. So as a grandfather, like, are your discipline, like, are you disciplined the same, or are you a little bit more soft?
Same way. It's going to be yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Open the door for the lady. Open the door for the old man. He can't open it. And so, yeah, it's
Across the board.
It's across the board.
I got you. Now, you know, we always say, you know, there's no playbook to fatherhood. There's no playbook to life or any of the things that we do. Odell Sr., if you could like give 3, you know, key takeaways when it comes to like a blueprint for parenting and fatherhood from your perspective, what do you think those would be?
I mean, I think the main one is time. Being present. I don't care what it is, when it is. Again, whether that's open arms and $1 worth of change, you know. I think it's time, you know, being there for them. You know, when they look up in the auditorium or the stadium or office or wherever it is, and they see you, that's a good feeling. That's a great feeling. I mean, I was able to see my dad running up and down the stands, you know, when I was in high school at 60-something, I think he was. But it's a good feeling to be able to be there, and time is just invaluable. I mean, you'll never get that back. What else? I don't know about the 3, but I think the most important thing as a father, as a parent, is to be there for your child, regardless of circumstances, situation. You know, be there for them. You know, discipline your child. You know, and that starts at home. Because I know I don't want to go to Walmart and my little girl fall out on the floor. Because she can't get no candy and cookies and stuff and no toys. That's not going to happen. And so, and just teaching them to be respectful, man. Just being respectful.
Okay.
But time, though. I can't stress that enough. Just being there. I don't care if you got to drive 2 hours, 3 hours, fly 4 hours. Just be there. That was my thing. And whether I could take them and buy them something afterwards, it didn't matter because I was there.
Yeah.
And I think that meant more than materialistic things.
I appreciate you sharing that. And I kind of want to ask both of y'all this question. You know, we're here at the MomScape conference seeing all these beautiful black men in the building. They're creating space for themselves to be poured into. And I know a lot of times us as black men, it's not normal for us to have those spaces or even to, you know, seek, spaces to be poured into. So with you both kind of juggling a lot, Cordell, your career, like, how are you both pouring into yourselves along the journey? Like, what are you doing for your mental to just kind of stay locked in and just as mentally prepared as possible?
Yeah, so what I do is I take at least like 3 or 4 days to myself. You know, I clear the schedule. I'll just be home. You know what I mean? Just be in my own atmosphere. Just do something that I feel like would calm me as a person, just taking care of myself, you know, whether I go get a massage or like get a haircut or go to the gym or even just sit in the bed watching my show. It's just like a debrief from everything that's going on outside, or spending that time with my person or my girl. You know, we sitting there and we just taking a break from everything and just enjoying our space together, you know? That's what I do.
What about you, Odell Sr.?
Pray daily. Pray daily, and thank Him for blessing me to see all of this, you know, from my grandson to my oldest son. And I golf. That's kind of my retirement plan right now. But definitely blessed to be in this position. And but yeah, definitely I pray, and that generally works for me.
Okay, I got you. And I want to open up this conversation a little bit to have a few people in the audience ask a few questions. So if you can raise your hand if you have a question for Odell Sr. or Cordell. If you can speak loudly, if you can. Are there any other mics to pass around?
We have a question?
Right here.
Okay.
My question is going to be for Cordell. I know you mentioned a little bit while you were on Love Island, you were doing the challenges and you were thinking, oh my gosh, what is my mom saying right now in this moment? Is there things as a child or even now as an adult that you felt like, not that you couldn't go to your mom about, but maybe that you felt just more comfortable talking to your dad? Or are there things that you really wish your mom was more open to talking to you about?
They ain't never hold back. So they tell me everything, and it's like a vice versa. I tell them everything. Well, I tell my pops stuff, I tell my mom stuff, and it's just like, I don't know, I tell them both everything, because it's just like, that's how, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, she kind of in a way, but both of them kind of put that in me to like, not hold back. It's okay to express yourself and ask questions. It's never the wrong question. You know, it's never a right or wrong answer to it neither. So it's like, yeah. I would talk to both of them about everything. Like anything I felt the need to ask, whether it's my pops or my mom, I wouldn't hesitate. Now, I was only feeling that way because it's a difference when they seeing stuff. You know what I mean? You can ask stuff, right? But then they seeing you do this stuff. You probably asked about like, the kissing and all that stuff, right? So
Probably don't ask me more than they ask mom. Probably scared to ask me some stuff.
maybe. I mean, it could be like that because some things you feel like you want to ask pops, but it's like, let me ask mom first.
I appreciate that question. You right here with your hand raised, if somebody can get her a mic.
Okay, so it's really obvious that you have a strong paternal presence. However, there's a lot of individuals that don't have that opportunity in that space. So I'm pretty sure in the audience there's some moms that are single parents. So can you all speak to, what are some guidance or advice that you can give like a single mom that may not have that paternal presence for their children, and how do they navigate through that?
Well, I went between my mom and my dad, and so when I was with my mom, I mean, I had a mom and a dad at the same time. She provided, she disciplined me. And so, and my dad, he was a little older, so, but I think my mom was just as good as my dad. You know, she was there, she was at the game, she did this, you know, she cooked, she provided. So, I don't know.
Yeah, man, to all of the single moms out there, y'all are enough. You know what I mean? Y'all are doing everything right that you possibly could be doing. And it may seem tough, but you got your little ones right there for you. You know what I mean? You just gotta remember, you know, you doing that for them. You know, regardless of what's going on, it could be the toughest things going on, but you come home and you make it happen and you make it possible for your little person. You know what I mean? And you know, I always come in, I feel like y'all are really super women out here. And you know, y'all deserve the world, so I really appreciate the ones that's out here really doing that by themselves. Cause y'all are strong. That's not easy. That's not easy. It don't get talked about enough for real. But that's something that, shoot, hell, I couldn't do that myself. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. That's a lot. I'm telling you.
That's why I tried to stay present.
You know what I mean? So
To be helpful, to try to be, you know, to try to help. Even though we weren't together, I still respected that and tried to help. Even, I mean, his mother and I weren't together. Odell and his mother were, you know, I think I was 4. I think he was about 4. And I think you were probably about 2.
One of them ages.
But I was still there, though. I was still there to help. I was still there if they had questions or to be the disciplinary. I mean, I get phone calls, he's not acting right, and can you talk to him? And I'm like,
he'll pull
boy,
up.
do I need to get on this highway?
He would. Straight from Louisiana. That's 5-hour drive.
So, you know, they hear that, they gonna straighten up because they don't want me to get on the highway. When I get there, it ain't gonna be no happiness.
That was a great
Especially I gotta drive 3, 4, 5 hours, 5 or more. Yes.
That was a great question. Thank you, and thank y'all for sharing. Let's get a few more. We had.
One right here.
We can start there, then come here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this session is very empowering to me as a single mom. I have 4 children. This question is going to be more so for Cordell, because my 19-year-old, he's now in college, but let's rewind a little bit. My ex-husband was mentally ill, and my son played basketball, and he was very good. He's tall enough to play basketball and everything, and he was very skilled, but it wasn't a passion of his. And because it wasn't a passion of his, I kid you not, till this day his father does not speak to him. It's one of the reasons why he stopped, like, interacting with him, talking to him, being involved with him specifically. My second son is super passionate about basketball, and he gets all of the attention from his father. And my son doesn't. When I realized he wasn't into the whole basketball stuff, he's more of a bookworm, got a full ride scholarship to Nova Southeastern University. And he's into fashion. He loves fashion. He came up with his own apparel and everything. As a young man coming up that did not have that type of support, and I know it's different for you, I'm hearing, you know, Odell Sr. say he's pulling up, he's showing up. What advice, because I know this is being recorded, and kudos to you guys, and kudos to you, Odell Sr., for showing up for your son the way that you have. What advice would you give to my son, who's trying to look past all of that hurt and push through what he's really passionate about now? What would you tell him?
You know, honestly, and I don't know how a few people would take it, but me, I would let him know, like, you know, at the end of the day, regardless of what's going on, you know, that's your pops. I tell my homeboys this all the time. Like, any of my partners that's going through anything, something like that, similar, whatever, you know, I tell them, like, at the end of the day, you know, that is your pops. But what you have to do is forgive and never forget and keep it going. You know, you chase your dreams. Whether he might not be the one supporting you there, but you have other people that's there, right there, standing beside you. You got your mom. Mom dude's out there the whole time. Every single thing you doing, she right there. You got your brothers right there. You got your friends. You know what I'm saying? And you uncles and, you know, everybody. You know what I mean? And it's like, even though I know that that's happening, that's just me personally, I let them know, like, hey, like, it's okay. Keep your head up, because, like, you got me, you got your mom. You know what I'm saying? And your pops is still there, whether, you know, he's there or not, but he's still, you know, your father. You know what I mean? You don't want to never forget your father. And you can always forgive him, but never forget what was going on. But always forgive, because it's just holding that in only does so much to you, and it'll hold you back, because you looking for that attention, I guess, you know, from pops that you're not getting. Well, I don't think that he's looking for it or anything like that, but, you know, it's just he wants that type of attention, but, you know, he can't get it, and that's okay, because he's getting it from somewhere else, tenfold. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, he knows the situation, but he also knows where you stand. And I kid you not, he's paying attention to all of this. And so wherever he's gonna make it, he'll always remind you that you helped him get to where he was at in his mind, his space. You helped him. So.
And somebody's gonna come along too. I mean, I've got 4, but I've been a father to the fatherless. And even those that's got a father that don't do what you saying. And so, you know, I've got a young man now. He's got a little successful business, and his dad was never there for him, because I guess he didn't do whatever he wanted him to do or whatnot. But as a mentor, I'm kind of like pops to him now, you know. And so just know somebody will come along and be there for him, and give him that wisdom and knowledge that his daddy had given him. And not to try to take his place, but to still be there and give him that he needs. So somebody will come along, because I've got a few out there, you know, that I mentor and answer to whenever they call. And it's not just the phone call. It could be financially, it could be mental, you know, it's being there because dad's not there. And it's not that you're trying to take their place, but you're just giving them that wisdom and knowledge that he's not there to give, or not willing to give. So just know somebody will come along.
And it's okay to let them know the situation too. You know what I mean? So they're not trying to figure out what's going on, why he's not here or anything like that. So I feel like that's another big part to play into certain circumstances like that. It's still at the right age, is letting your son or child know like what's going on. But I feel I would still tell him that your father still, I say he's still proud of you. Not in the way that he want to be, right? Just to keep in mind, you still his son. You know what I'm saying? He sees you. It might not be what he wants you to do, but he sees you. And at the end of the day, when he get big and his fashion line goes off and he's out here doing his thing, it'll be shown, right? And whether that may happen or not, Pops will come forward and show his respect, and your son will, if he forgave him, will accept that, acknowledge it, respect it, you know, and keep it going and keep continuing what he's doing and striving for more and ultimately making you proud. So.
I want to actually speak to that a little bit as actually, last time I saw my pops, at that point, he came to one of my basketball games when I was a kid, left the middle of the game. I had never saw him after that. And for a lot of my early adulthood, I felt like I was struggling with manhood because I was still yearning to be a son for my father. So it wasn't until, like Cordell said, I forgave him and kind of just accepted what it was, that's when I was able to move forward. So I appreciate that question. That was a good question. And I want to do one or two more questions before we kind of move on with the conversation. I'm going to get this lady right here.
Thank you. Tramika, this is awesome to have a father's perspective, you know, because that helps us, you know, mothers to know how to continue to balance our home life. June is Mental Health Awareness Month for men. And I want to know, I know it's sometimes difficult for men to seek outside help, in their fatherhood and in life or whatever. So for those of us who have men in our lives, husbands, significant others or whatever, how can we encourage them to seek outside help or to do that self-care that would help them to become healthier as men and as fathers?
I got something for this.
Go ahead.
We actually have a program at Dear Fathers. It's called Straight Mental. We started it in May of 2020. It's a group, safe space for Black men to connect to Black mental health professionals. Since 2020, we've connected over 5,000 Black men to Black mental health professionals. Guys build brotherhood, guys build community within that safe space. So there is a resource that we offer, and they can just go to dearfathers.com, and we have a tab called Straight Mental where they can sign up and learn more to tap into those virtual spaces. So,
yeah, I would say about 8 years ago, I was drinking, and I couldn't drink. My mom always told me, "Boy, you can't drink. You know you can't drink." And so I went to Miami for about 2 months because I knew I had my youngest boy at the time, and then I had him. He was in high school. And so I would fall asleep though, because I knew I couldn't drink. I would fall asleep after one drink or whatever, right? But I stopped drinking. I went to Miami, stopped drinking for, I started in 2017, stopped drinking, and I was able to stay up at night. My 2-year-old, I didn't fall asleep on him no more, but it's been 8 years. And so my point is, I didn't get no help outside. I didn't go to no facility, so to speak. I went to church, okay, for 2 months straight. And I still go to church, but I went to church. That's what helped me. God helped me stop drinking so that I could help myself, help my family. Because before I could help anybody, I gotta help myself. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. So I had to take care of myself. And so I didn't have no help. I prayed, went to church and stopped immediately, and so I guess church. Yeah, so it's been 8 years for me to provide and be there for my family, be a better person.
thank you for sharing that, and we're kind of running short on time, so give another round of applause for Odell Sr. Now, before we get out of here today, I want to do something that we do at Dear Fathers on the Dear Fathers podcast specifically, which is perfect for this father and son conversation that we're having. So the name Dear Fathers was actually sparked because growing up when I was a kid, I used to actually write letters to my pops, like just telling them how I felt, like whether it be about my basketball game or whatever the case may be. So that was why we call this platform Dear Fathers. So before we get out of here, I want you, Cordell, we normally say hypothetically, if you could write a letter to your father, starting with Dear Father, what would you say to Odell Sr.?
Shoot, put me on the spot. Man, usually, you know, when you write these things, you got time to think about what you want to say. All right, you know, obviously I would start off with Dear Father. I really appreciate the man you've made me become today. You know, I've been watching you. Lord knows I've been watching you. I watch everything you do. And you know, I turn that and I tweak it a little bit, as you would say, and turn it into something that I would do my way, but still in a way that I was taught and that I seen. And you know, I always appreciate how much you've been there through everything. You know, many people don't know, but he's been here through every single thing that's been going on in my life, and it's been a lot. You know, it's been a lot. Only so much that I can say, and you know, without him being here, I don't even know, man. So I really appreciate that, because you know, that's just something that a child needs in his life, is that father. And I really appreciate you for making it happen, still being there for me, you know, regardless of where I'm at. You know, he's here and I'm here, but he's still coming out his way to make sure that he knows that he has a father in his life, and I always appreciate that. And you know, showing me the ways of life, you know what I mean? And I'm only 23, and I'm old though. I'm old, and I got pops to blame, but it's a blessing. It's a good blame, and I'm forever grateful for everything.
Apple trees don't make peaches.
I don't want to make him cry now, so I'm gonna keep it light though.
You gonna make me cry. But no, I appreciate you for sharing that, man. And I want to thank MomScape for having us out today. Thank everybody in this room for creating the space for us to have this conversation.
Myself cry, that's what it was.
And so before we get out of here, Odell and Cordell, let the people know, like, you know, what you kind of alluded to it earlier, but let the people know more what you got coming up next, and you know how to stay connected with you.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be on TV. I'm gonna be out here acting for real. And now that I'm here in Atlanta, I've been getting connected with a lot of film producers, filmmakers, and as I found out, this is the home of filming right now. You know what I mean? Especially with us, our people. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's a lot more of that coming on. Deals, but I'm mainly focused on my lifetime goal, which is to be not an aspiring actor, but an actor, a actor. You know what I mean? And my dream goal is to be Miles Morales, which is the very first Black Spider-Man. And I will make it happen soon, one day. We'll get there. I keep saying it, speak into existence. It'll happen. It's been going like that for the longest, so. And I'm here now, and I'm gonna keep talking, so. Hey, you know, look, somebody let them know we out here now.
Odell Sr, what you got going on? You retired golf?
Y'all know he retired. He golfing right. He going on tour. Go ahead,
Pawpaw and Pops. Pawpaw and Pops right now.
He trying to be modest. He
Pawpaw and Pops. That's it.
on the golf tour.
I was just telling my oldest son I need a couple of clones because I'm spread thin, you know? I'm spread thin. They got me going, but my grandmother did always say, if you keep moving, you'll live a long time. And she sure did live to 101.
I appreciate both of you brothers for joining the Dear Fathers podcast, having an impactful conversation, a father and son conversation. And I want to let everybody know in the audience as well, Dear Fathers will be hosting a Father's Day event here in Atlanta with Buckhead next weekend, Saturday, June the 14th. It's at Buckhead Art & Co. So it'll be a celebration of Black fatherhood. Men and women are welcome. We'll have light bites, we'll have drinks, we'll have a DJ, it'll be a great time. So you guys come out, invite your husbands, your partners, your spouses, whoever would like to attend. You can go to actually our Dear.Fathers Instagram and hit the link in our bio, and if you use the code MomScape, it'll get you a free ticket. So again, next Saturday, June the 14th, in Buckhead, join us for a celebration of Black Fatherhood. So again, I want to thank Kordell and Odell Sr. for joining the Dear Fathers podcast, and thank everybody for coming out. And we hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
We have one more question coming from the side.
Hey, it's DJ Excel. I just wanted